Welcome to Travel with Carisha. Please sit back and enjoy the ride as we travel to Chichen Itza in Yucatan, Mexico. My journey started around 5 a.m. As you can see, it's pretty dark out and people are still coming from the club. I was in Cancun, so the drive was about 2.5 hours to get to Chichen Itza, so I was quite tired. But here we're just navigating traffic as we journey on our way. Chichen Itza was a Mayan city on the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. Although it's an important tourist attraction, Chichen Itza also remains an active archaeological site. New discoveries are still being unearthed in this area, providing even more insight into the culture and accomplishments of the Mayan people who ruled much of present-day Mexico and Central America prior to the arrival of European colonists. Chichen Itza was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1988, and in 2007, it was voted in a global survey as one of the new 7 wonders of the world. And here you can see pictures of different celebrities that have come to visit Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza is located about 120 miles from the modern-day resort town of Cancun on Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. The name Chichen Itza is a Mayan language term for at the mouth of the well of the Itza. The Itza were an ethnic group of Mayans who had risen to power in the northern part of the Yucatan Peninsula where the city is located. The well in the name refers to a number of underground rivers that run beneath the region and likely served as a source of water for the city. This easy access to water made the location perfect for the city the size of Chichen Itza. Historic accounts differ as to when Chichen Itza was built and ultimately developed into a center of political and economic power. Some accounts place the establishment of the city in the early 400s AD, while others suggest construction started a few years later in the middle part of the 5th century. Chichen Itza was built. In this clip here, you see an example of a Mayan house. Chichen Itza was built in an area of rough terrain that was leveled in order to accommodate larger structures, including most notably El Castillo, or the castle, a pyramid structure that, thanks to restoration efforts, still stands today. Another larger structure on the site, Las Monajas, which served as a government building, was also built on level terrain. All of the buildings of Chichen Itza were linked by a network of nearly 100 paved roadways and sidewalks, which was significant given that many European cities did not yet feature paved streets at the time. In addition, archaeologists believe that Mayans painted many of the buildings in bright colors, including reds, greens, and blues. Today, though, as you can see from the clips, remains of the city retain a pale gray color of the original stone. A large cenote, which is a sacred well or spring, located at the northern end of Chichen Itza, has immense ceremonial and archaeological significance. Long rumored to have been the site of human sacrifice, the cenote was dredged in the early 1900s. The dredging yielded numerous precious artifacts made of gold, turquoise, and jade, as well as human remains. Researchers found that the human remains had bone marks and other wounds indicating that they were killed before being thrown in the cenote. By the 9th century, Chichen Itza was a regional capital, with its rulers controlling much of the central and northern Yucatan Peninsula. Via its port at Isla Cerritos on the northern coast of Chichen Itza became an important commercial center, trading in goods including gold and other treasures with other cities throughout the Americas. At its height, it is believed that as many as 50,000 people lived in the city. This population may have also been fairly diverse, at least by standards of the time, with residents immigrating to the city from beyond the Yucatan, including from present-day Central America. Although the fall of the Mayan civilization is widely attributed to the arrival of Christopher Columbus in 1492 and the European colonists that followed the famous explorer, Chichen Itza may have well lost its place as an important city in the region long before then. Indeed, historians believe that many of the political and economic activities of the city shifted to Mayapan, a newer community built to the south and west of Chichen Itza by the mid-1200s. There is some evidence that Chichen Itza may have been raided and looted at this time, although that remains up for debate. Still, when Spanish conquerors arrived in 1526, there was a thriving community living in and around the city. As a result, it was only natural that for a time the Spanish set up a temporary capital.
Those 92 steps that faces the north. It has a technical name. It is named a Doppler effect. If we get close to the staircase, the sound goes out. If we're sitting up there, the sound goes all around the place. That is why we can tell this plateau was used in political and religious purposes. So decía que bueno, esta es una acústica que checamos aquí para darse una idea de cómo se usó la plaza, cómo una persona allá arriba en la parte interior de esas cámaras podía emitir un discurso y 100,000 personas podían escucharla perfectamente. El sonido se extiende de adentro hacia afuera. La piedra caliza rebota y expande el sonido. Sí, igual lo vamos a checar todos. Sí, funciona. Suena como el grito de un pájaro. ¿Sí, más o menos?
Cool.
It sounds like a bird screaming. So it happens only when we're standing right in front of the staircase.
Okay.
If we walk away from this point, going to the east or going to the west, 10 meters away from this point is not going to work. So, ¿sí más o menos? Lo hacemos todos juntos. Y cuento hasta 3 y aplaudimos todos juntos de frente al templo 7 veces. I will count till 3 and then we will clap all together right in front of this building 7 times. Okay? You got it? So, after 3, 1, 2, 3 and then we start. We start. 1, 2, 3. Esta es la forma como lo vamos a hacer. This is the way how we're going to do this. Clapping like this. Much more lower.
Okay.
¿Sí? Sí, todos juntos. ¿Sí? Bien. I will count till 3 and then we will clap 7 times. All together, a little bit lower. 1, 2, 3. ¿Sí? Bien, ahora lo vamos a hacer 13 veces. Now we're going to clap 13 times. 13 times, all together, please. After 3. 1, 2, 3. Excelente, muy bien. No importa, está bien. Entonces funciona.
Long abandoned by the Spanish and then by the newly formed country of Mexico, Chichen Itza became a significant site in the mid-1800s as it remains today. A number of important structures of the original city remain standing, some thanks to restoration efforts. Some of those buildings are El Castillo, the Great Ball Court, the North Temple, the Steam Bath, Sacube Number 1, Temple of the Warriors, Ground of 1,000 Columns, El Mercado, and El Osario. Today, some 2 million tourists visit Chichen Itza annually to explore its architectural wonders and gain further insight into Mayan history and culture. However, archaeologists are still at work on the site. As recent as 2016, scientists discovered a smaller pyramid within El Castillo using modern imaging technology. It is believed this smaller structure held religious significance to the Mayans. And before you leave Chichen Itza, make sure you grab a bite to eat. The food is absolutely delicious. There's a lot of things you can do there. There's a hotel, there's restaurants. There are dancers. So before